Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bengal Tiger Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Shea Dixon. And Shea, LSU defeats Army 62-0 in a game where the Tigers just came out and did what we expected them to do, checked pretty much all the boxes, and left with a resounding non-conference victory with Alabama coming up in 2 weeks. What do you think?
It was dominant from start to finish. We didn't expect Army to give LSU much, but LSU did what they had to do. I think we kind of said going into this thing that defensively Army could at least test them because of the triple option and everyone playing sound assignment football. And they forced, ultimately, let's see, I know I tweeted it. Obviously, they didn't score any points, 4 turnovers, 3 of them picks, 2 of them by Andre Sam. Ovia Gofu had a strip and recovered it as well. That was very nice by him. And the result on 11 drives, the 12th drive of the game, Army, it was just the end of the game. They let the clock go out. So 11 drives, no points, 4 punts, 3 picks, 3 turnover on downs, 1 fumble recovery. That's about as good as you can ask for.
Yeah, defensively was obviously that's the main point of this game where we wanted to see LSU show some improvement or at least show some resilience here because we knew that what the offense was going to do. But defensively, I thought we saw a pretty good showing from the defensive line. I thought Mason Smith had a few flashes. I thought the linebackers, Greg Penn, Omar Spates, Whit Weeks, all had some flashes. And that's really all I wanted to see was the front seven hold up against this defensive line. Or against this offense of Army. So you take the good there, and then obviously then the question mark becomes Zy Alexander, who goes down in the second quarter on the last play of the first half with an injury, which I don't know if we want to get into it right now, but that's really the main takeaway from this game is Zy Alexander okay? Because everything else, it felt like a normal LSU blowout win. The offense looked great. The defense looked great. If we stay on the defense for a second, Andre Sam made a tackle in space. He might get the game ball.
He had a big night.
With how well he played. So I thought defensively they did everything I expected them to do. I took the under 13.5 Army team total because Matt House, to his credit, has been reliable in that setting of playing one-dimensional offenses.
I think that we're also in the media auxiliary room here, so I hear a little people coming in and out. No worries at all. Also, I'm distracted. USC is now taking the lead. I don't even know how that happened.
I was wondering what you were watching.
They were down 8 or 7 a minute ago. Now they have a 1-point lead.
There you go.
But
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams did score that touchdown right there. I want to say, too, that Brian Kelly kind of said in his post-game update that Denver Harris was inactive. He did not play tonight.
Yep.
He also did one of those, we have who we have type things, so now is Denver Harris available for Bama? Deuce Chestnut he's currently on the roster on scholarship, but he hasn't played, and Brian Kelly said there's no update there this past week. The bye week should bring us, is Zy hurt? Is Denver available? Is Deuce available? Because with J.K. Johnson already out for the year, are you going into Bama without your 4 transfer corners? That can't happen.
I mean, imagine going into the year you tell us that
it's
the
Welsh and LaTerrence and Stamps.
The 4 transfers that LSU added at corner, none of them would be playing against Alabama this year. Imagine, and then Sage is playing corner with whoever, Ashton Stamps or LaTerrence.
Here's the good news. They have a bye week, so they have not only does hopefully Zy's healthy.
Hopefully, yes.
So he's got 2 weeks to rest up, even if he's banged up a little bit. Deuce and Denver, it appears, have 2 weeks to get on Brian Kelly's good side. I would imagine that
depending on what Deuce even is doing or wants to do at this point, I'm not speculating, but we haven't heard anything about Deuce, and when we thought we were going to hear something about Deuce, it was he's inactive.
Well, Sage would be playing, and then
Sage will be playing, and that will
We'll see.
And that'll be the first real test for Sage because over the past few weeks, obviously, what we've talked about, it's been obviously Auburn and then Army. And so now I'm excited to see how he does against an Alabama team, and we'll preview that plenty. But even Ashton Stamps obviously didn't play in this game because he's injured.
Yeah, he was out last game too.
Yeah, so Terrence Welsh and Sage Ryan step on up to the plate. It looks like it's your turn. So
we'll see. Zy may be fine.
Maybe, yeah. Zy's
And
maybe
Denver could be active, and then who knows?
Yes, that's where we're at right now.
There's a lot of mix-up.
A lot of turnover.
Lower body injury for Zai. They'll know more in the next 24 to 48 hours. So,
yeah, I mean, we'll see.
We don't know.
No, we don't know. We don't know. So, defensively, anything else?
Let's see.
Shout out Andre Sam.
Omar Spates led the way, 9 tackles. Harold Perkins, 7 tackles. Yeah, he was in on a tackle for loss. Major Burns, 6 tackles. Had a quarterback hurry. They finished this game with 1 sack. Greg Penn got it.
Yes, it was a nice play.
Greg Penn had a really nice night. Very nice night for Greg Penn. A million guys played tonight. Everybody got to get in, which is good to see. And I will say, too, that before we switch over to offense, this is what you wanted from the defense. No, Army's not great, but they didn't allow anything. No points, plenty of turnovers. Yeah. It's exactly what you wanted out of this game. They didn't allow even a bust or two where a guy's running and he breaks free and you miss 2 tackles and they score. You mentioned that Army team total was 13.5. Like Vegas thought Army could score a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, or at least one touchdown.
And we heard the Army, one of their beat writers, was doing his post-game podcast when we were in the press box, and he said, look, I thought Army might be able to at least get into the end zone, but they had a true freshman playing at quarterback with a quarterback change, then brought in another true freshman. It just was tough sledding for them all night. But he did praise the LSU fans and staff and administration for what he called a very impressive display of appreciation for the military and the troops and Army. And it was everything from camo end zones to paratroopers before the game. Yep. They sang the alma maters together after the game.
Every America song.
Yep, they did a bunch of saluting the troops during the game. Yep. So it was a cool night. Obviously, if you're an Army fan, you wish you could have gotten some points out of it. But this LSU offense, as Brian Kelly brought up after the game, let's transition here.
Yep.
462 yards. What was it?
No, 570 yards.
No.
Oh, going to the fourth quarter?
In week 1 versus Florida State.
Oh, yes.
They had 460 yards of offense. That was their worst offensive performance of the year.
Yep.
Brian Kelly points out now in the 7 games since, they've gone over 500 in every single game. Yep. That's what the nation's best. This is the nation's best offense.
Yes, and like we've talked about, they're coming off of 5 straight SEC games. They didn't have that buffer of 4 non-conference games to, maybe inflate your stats a little bit. Whereas if they had played Army and Georgia State before the SEC conference, we'd be looking at this offense as like on a different level as far as statistically speaking. And because of the 5-game stretch, we got to see them play quality team after quality team. And say what you will about Mississippi State or Arkansas or whatever. It's SEC opponents that a lot of teams maybe aren't playing. And this was another showing of just an exceptional offense, clicking on all cylinders. I mean, I understand it's Army, but this is an Army team that held Syracuse to 26, or was it 27, Boston College to 29. Maybe I got those numbers flipped. But, they haven't really allowed teams to just walk all over them. It's not like they're a bad FCS team. It's not like they're a bad FBS team, really. I mean, they're 2-5 on the year now, and they have losses to Syracuse, Boston College, LSU. So this was to put 62 on Army like this. It truly was impressive. I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, it's Army." This would have been impressive if it was against Grambling, which they did against Grambling. This is Army, and it has FBS football players on it, FBS football players that beat a UTSA team that a lot of people thought was good coming into the year. Just to average 9.5 yards per play, 6.1 yards per carry, for Jaden to do what he did, and then Garrett Nussmeier to come in and do his trademark just 50-yard bomb touchdown pass. You can't ask for anything more. It's hard to put into words just how crisp this offense feels at all times, and to the point where even when Jaden Daniels comes out second position in the game and misses 2 throws, it's like whoa, we haven't seen that really in much at all in the past 5, 6, 7 weeks, and that's the sign of a good offense. And now it gets put to the test against Alabama in 2 weeks, and I cannot wait for that.
Let's do a quick ad read here, as we do every time. My Perfect Franchise. After every game, Andy Ludicky wants us to give a shout out to his business, My Perfect Franchise, and let LSU fans know, anyone out there listening, how they can get in touch with him and see what he's all about. And he says it every time. His motto is very straightforward. Ready to leave the corporate rat race for the American dream, or is it a side hustle while you work your current job? Diversifying, building wealth, leaving a legacy, something to pass on to your kids. Perhaps you're retired and are itching to do something. He says he's handled it all. So give him a call. Here's the best part. His services are 100% free. He's there to help you with any questions about business ownership. He is a franchisee himself. He's been in the business a long time. He wants to help out. 404 is the number, 404-973-9901, or email him, andy@myperfectfranchise.net. You can check it out online. Just Google it, My Perfect Franchise. You'll find his website. But again, email andy@myperfectfranchise.net or call him 404-973-9901. I had another person this past week tell me they reached out to Andy completely free, bounced some ideas around. They're set to talk again. So give him a call if you've got any questions about becoming a franchisee or at least getting into it at some level. The offense, we just kind of teased it a bit. 62 points. Jaden Daniels leaves the game at halftime. They let Nussmeier go. I joked that the over-under on a Nussmeier deep ball is about 1.5. It took 4 snaps, and he throws a 50-yard on the money to a wide-open Malik Neighbors touchdown. Your boy, the Nuss Bus, was taken off there.
Man, the best part of that throw, if you go back and watch the replay, is he threw it when Malik was about even with the safety. And he's just like, yeah, the safety's hips are not turned enough. He's not going to be able to keep up with Malik. And he just threw an absolute moon ball that was dropped perfectly 45 yards down the field. I mean, I'm, again, not to go on to next year already, but
he's
not going to be.
We're on Daniels.
No, he's not going to be Jaden Daniels.
No, he's not.
And there's not going to be any expectation of him being what Jaden Daniels is this year. But he's going to be very fun and exciting as well.
Daniels 11 for 15 for 279 and 4 total touchdowns. He ran one in as well, 3 passing. It was, as usual, the Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas show. Stop me when, if you've heard this before, they both go over 100. Right at the same, 121 and 122. But shout out Brian Thomas. He caught all 3 of his targets for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. They both had 2 touchdowns in this one. But Thomas doing it on 3 targets is wildly impressive. Those guys are great. Kyron Lacey had a relatively quiet night. I mean, those two dominated everything in terms of their production from a yardage standpoint. Chris Hilton was back. He had a couple of catches. Aaron Anderson was in the game some. He's back. Mason Taylor was there. They didn't use him a ton in this one. They didn't really have to. But the story then became, I guess at the end of the game probably, that all the backups and freshmen get in, and Trey Holly is one of the few. 19 of 24, I think what is that right now? True freshmen signees have played. Trey Holly was in the group that has not. He gets in for the first time tonight, and Louisiana's all-time record holder in rushing yards for high school at Union Parish. 6 carries, 91 yards, and a long of 67.
Yep, he broke
to hit the over.
He ran hard. Oh, to hit
the over at 60.
Yeah, he ran hard. I was pleased with watching him run.
Before that long, the 67-yarder that made the score 62-0 final. Yeah. He had some hard runs. There was a 12-yard run that was a really good run, some nice short-yard runs. So Frank Wilson's got his hands full. He's got all kind of running backs. And he's got Caden Durham on the way, and then you've got guys like number 1 running back in the country, 2 top 10 running backs in the country in Louisiana for the following year. Things are setting up nicely for LSU at running back, which is good because if you're losing Jaden Daniels, you need some more runners.
You could have another year of Logan Diggs, too.
You could. We'll see what happens. Shout out Noah Kane, came in at the end. He had some hard runs, scored a touchdown. Diggs scored a touchdown. John Emery got in the game a good bit, ended up with 6 carries. Caleb Jackson was in the game a little bit, didn't do too much. Overall, Malachi Lane.
Shout out Malachi Lane.
Shout out Malachi Lane.
Yeah, Zalen's hurt, got the starter right tackle. I'll have to go back and rewatch.
I know he got hit with a holding call at one point, but it was Army.
There was a false start penalty. I mean, he's not quite at that level of where Will Campbell was last year, and I don't think, I want to reiterate how hard it is to do what Will Campbell and Emory Jones did last year. And Emory Jones was not perfect last year, but neither one was. But that is not what you really want as an SEC
No,
offense. You don't want to just roll out true freshmen every single year.
This is what you do want is if you're
Yes.
starting right tackle Emory Jones,
Yes.
has to be out for a game. You want it before a bye, before you play Bama, so he's got a few weeks to rest. Then in a game when you know you're going to win, you put in Lance Hurd, and he gets to go for 3+ quarters.
Yes.
3 quarters. Almost all the starters were out by the 4th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you get to plug in a 5-star player at offensive tackle, no problem. The offensive line has been tremendous. I mean, we've talked about it before. I don't know if we've talked about it enough, but the way that they dominated this game up front just opened up everything else for them. So yeah, shout out the offense. Great numbers again, great stats again. Wish maybe Jaden Daniels would have got another series in to inflate his numbers a little bit more, but it is what it is. I mean, it shouldn't have any impact on how people perceive him, the Heisman race. And it won't matter because all that matters is Alabama, Florida, Texas A&M, how he plays in those games. So
yeah, LSU's number 2 in the country heading into this week in yards per play at 7.91. In this one, they finished
9.5.
with 9.5 yards per play. So the race between LSU and Washington for best offense continues. But LSU's offense is so much more balanced than Washington's aerial attack. And both score points, both get yards, all that. But, boy, it's fun to watch this LSU offense because they can do it in every single way.
Yeah. And, yeah, we'll talk plenty about LSU, Alabama coming up. But, obviously, Alabama will be the best defense they've played to this point this year. And I'm excited to see how that goes.
LSU only they had 11 drives tonight. They scored points on 10 of them. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown. I mean, that's every week. They punted once. It was the second drive of the game. A 3-and-out, actually. I think they ran Diggs, and then Daniels missed a couple of throws.
Daniel missed Taylor,
off to the right
and
side.
he missed
Neighbors,
Neighbor.
maybe. I think it was Neighbors.
I think it was Taylor then Neighbors. I think were the two.
They punt it. I think there was some stuff in the in-game thread that was like, Daniel's starting shaky. Here we go. And they go on to score 3 straight touchdowns, kick a field goal, score another touchdown, all before half, and Jaden's night's done.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm glad he didn't have to run too much.
Yep.
Glad it was an efficient night, and take care of business. And now go into a bye week, and as much self-scouting as you can do for this offense, I don't know. I think Brian Kelly kind of talked about it early in the post-game press conference that we saw was, we'll spend the first few days on self-scouting and stuff. I don't know what this offense can really learn from this game. It's all about Alabama. It's all about figuring out how you're going to block them, how you're going to attack them, because that is, for better or worse, to a lot of LSU fans, that LSU-Alabama game will be the season.
Yeah, and Bama won today. Came back and beat Tennessee.
Yes.
Handled business at home. They get a bye, and then they'll welcome LSU's final road game of the season, and we'll go a very long way in determining who wins the West.
Yep.
So,
all right,
we'll have a Monday mailbag.
Yes, we will. Monday mailbag. So get your questions in for that. Do you want to look at the game balls or anything?
Oh, we can do that before we get out of here. Who did we pick? I picked.
You're not gonna pull it up.
Oh, I picked Josh Williams. We can do this. I picked. You have a memory. You can.
Okay.
You got this. You picked Logan Diggs.
Yeah, I did pick Logan Diggs.
And I picked Josh Williams. I don't even know if either of
them. It's the receivers.
Yeah, both going for 120. Malik and Brian gets the game ball.
Brian.
3 catches for 122 and 2.
We need
And he now leads he entered the week
tied
9 touchdowns. For most in the NCAA. I don't know where that sits now, but he adds 2 more, so that's 11.
It's gotta have it. We'll see.
Defense, you went Greg Penn.
Utah just won on a last-second field goal, so.
Well, that didn't matter. My cover wasn't -6.
USC -5 or -6 was not.
It wasn't even hitting. It didn't matter.
Damn, Caleb's pissed.
Caleb Williams takes another L. Officially way out of the Heisman races. Caleb Williams.
Get him out.
Defense, you had Greg Penn. I did Major Burns.
I was gonna go Greg Penn. Oh, you picked the wrong safety.
I know. That's what happened. Andre Sam gets it right.
Yeah.
2 picks. Had a very good game.
Second to me is Greg Penn, though. We don't give awards for second.
Well, and when the game kind of mattered in the first half, it was Greg making a lot of the plays.
Greg made some plays that I thought actually showed, which is a big thing. Again, looking at the last 3 SEC games, is the linebacker play is going to have to be improved, right? Weeks is going to have to be good, which he has been, but he's going to have to be very good. Greg Penn and Omar Spates are probably going to have to be better than what they have been if they're going to go 3-0 in this last stretch. So,
Our special teams failed. So here's our predictions. We didn't pick
Not even close.
the kicker or punter because we were like, it won't matter. Bramblett punted once. Ramos kicked 2 field goals.
Bramblett shanked his punt, though.
Yeah, he did. It went for 41 yards, but
It rolled.
he shanked it.
It rolled.
Ramos hit a couple 30-yarders. From 40 and in, he seems automatic, which is great.
Yeah,
like, you
it's
didn't
amazing.
truly know what you had in him, even after a year ago. But we picked Caleb Jackson as kick return. He returned no kicks tonight. They didn't return any kicks.
No.
Mine was probably worse. I picked Greg Clayton to have a big return than punts. He actually just let some roll that were like
Inside the 10.
if this were a game that mattered, that was an absolute no. Like twice back to back it happened.
Yep.
If you're going to be put out there to just catch it, then catch it. That's a goal. I'm sure I'll hear about that in practice, film study, whatever.
Damian Ramos,
Doesn't
come on
matter.
down.
Damian Ramos, you win again, my friend. 6 points off field goals, and then I guess they scored like 50 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he got all those
Shout out to
extra
Damian.
points, too.
So yeah,
Anything else?
There you go. Nope. 20 minutes.
Shout out Army.
Shout out to
Shout
Army.
out the troops.
Shout out the troops, and shout out to the end zones, camouflage.
Yep.
What'd you think about the jerseys, though?
I would have preferred a white helmet.
That's same.
White. That would have been cool. Because
When's
Army was in all black.
When's the last time LSU's worn a white helmet, though?
Oh, I could Google it. I think they've worn it.
I would. Did they wear it
Somewhat
with the
recently.
purple? They wear it with the
Maybe,
purple,
yeah, with
right? Yeah, they
purple.
wear the purple jersey with the white helmets.
Yes,
So
yes.
okay. They could just pull those out. Yeah, they could have just done that.
No.
That's what a lot of people were saying, though. So we're all on the same page there. All right, that's it.
Monday mailbag. So y'all put your questions in on the Bengal Tiger. If
Yes.
you're not a member, too, recruiting's heating up.
Whew.
More commits coming.
Yes,
So you'll have the recruiting podcast from Billy and I, but we will be even Sunday on all day. Some news could drop. So
Yes.
if you're not a member, $1, join.
Yes.
Very simple. You can spend $1 to hang out with us. It's worth it.
Do it for a month. The board just never stops, never dies.
That's
So,
enough entertainment right there.
That's enough entertainment for $1. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Like Shea said, mailbag podcast on Monday. We usually post the questions, post for the questions around 10 or 11 a.m. on Monday. Give you a few hours. But yeah, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we will talk to y'all later.